This is Egypt, the world's largest Arab country in the northeast of Africa, which is going to surprise the whole world very soon. Egypt is not an ordinary country. It is the birthplace of one of the oldest, most powerful, and longest-lasting civilizations on Earth. Egypt is the home of enchanted conspiracies and mysteries, and one of these mysteries is Egypt's geography. If we look at the map of Egypt, it covers a total area of 4 lakh square miles, where 97% of the area is covered by deserts, and that is why living here has always been a challenge. Even today, 90% of Egypt is completely empty. So how did the enchanted Egyptians manage to create such powerful empires here? The answer is the mighty Nile River. This 4,000-mile-long river is the world's largest river. Without it, the Egyptian civilization would probably not have survived. There is a saying that Egypt is from the Nile, and the Nile is from Egypt. Even today, the entire population of Egypt lives here in the north and on the banks of the Nile River. The most interesting thing is that Egypt is the only country in the world whose population pattern and the route of the Nile River can be seen clearly from satellite even at night. Due to this river, Egypt has always been the agricultural hub of the world, despite being surrounded by the hottest desert, like the Sahara Desert. 30% of the wheat supply of the Roman Empire came from Egypt. Even today, this river is the lifeline of Egypt. 90% of Egypt's population lives along this river, while the remaining only 10% of the population lives here along the Red Sea, in the Nile Valley, Matrav, and Sinai. The reason for this population pattern is that 80% of Egypt's agricultural land is along this Nile River. Due to this river, Egypt is still among the top 5 countries in the world in producing fruits, dates, and garlic. But now the problem is that Egypt's population is increasing very fast. Between 1920 and 2020, Egypt's population increased 8 times, and today in 2024, Egypt's population has crossed 11 crores. That is why Egypt is the largest Arab country in terms of population. By 2050, Egypt's population will reach 16 crores, and only 4% agricultural land is very less for so many people. Due to urbanization, Egypt's agricultural land is decreasing by 2% every 10 years. And if it continues like this, then by 2050, Egypt will become a victim of a very strong famine. That is why Egypt has only 26 years to solve this problem. Even today, 50% of Egypt's food supply is being imported from outside, and these imports are a huge burden on Egypt's GDP. To overcome this, Egypt is building the world's largest artificial river, which will transform this 9,000 square kilometer desert into agricultural land. Egypt has done similar work before. Between 2015 and 2020, Egypt converted 5,000 square kilometers of desert into agricultural land. In 2021, President al-Sisi announced this Niue Delta project. In this project, an artificial river will be built through the Nile River, which will be the world's largest artificial river. The River Nile actually starts from Lake Victoria in Uganda and crosses northeast Africa and falls into the Mediterranean Sea. Now, what is happening is that water is supplied to the farms from this Nile River through a branch called Rosetta Branch. Now, all this is wastewater that comes from the farms, and this water later falls into the Mediterranean Sea. So now Egypt is doing that. Instead of making this branch fall into the Mediterranean, it is making it an artificial river. The route of this river is such that it will start from this Rosetta Branch, and after running 50 kilometers along the coastline of the Mediterranean Sea, it will stop at the edge of the Nile Delta. Here, through 10 3-meter pipes, the water of this river will be transported to this Al Humam water treatment plant 64 kilometers away in the middle of the desert, and here 7.5 million cubic meters of water will be cleaned so that it can then be used for agriculture here. Similarly, water will be transported through pipes directly from the Nile River to the eastern side 125 kilometers away from this plant, and in this way, with the help of these 2 water supplies, this 9,000 square kilometer area will be made lush green. In this way, the agricultural land of Egypt will increase by 23%, and many crops can be grown here. Then, due to its proximity to the coastline, all these food supplies can be easily exported outside as well. This project will be able to arrange food for millions of people. Jobs will be created for 50 lakh people, and Egypt's dependence on food imports will end completely. Work is going on at a fast pace on this project. Satellite images of the construction site were released in 2023. How the work is going on. Satellite images of the construction site were released in 2023, in which it can be seen how this project has been completed up to 40%. In June 2023, fresh water was also released here for the first time. Similarly, it can also be seen in the satellite images that these circular fields have also been created to the west of this treatment plant, where irrigation is going on at full speed. All in all, if the work continues at this speed, then in the next 2 years, this project will be completed and change the fate of Egypt. But on the other hand, Egypt is also taking some surprising decisions for which it may have to pay a heavy price. Like in 2015, the Egyptian government announced that it will change the capital of Egypt from Cairo and build a new city 50 kilometers away in the desert, on which construction is going on since 2016. But due to this investment, Egypt has gone into a debt of $58 billion. And this is where UAE has entered. UAE and Cairo have signed a deal according to which UAE has bought Egypt's city Ras Al Hikma for $35 billion. State-of-the-art infrastructure will be built in this city, and according to some analysts, this will be the new Dubai of the Middle East. But on the other hand, some Egyptian analysts are also saying that with this deal, President Sisi has not only sold this city but also the sovereignty of Egypt. Now, Egypt will have to do what UAE says. On the other hand, Egypt's role in the Israel-Palestine war is also being criticized a lot. So on one hand, Egypt is working on very ambitious projects, and on the other hand, some of its decisions can bring dangerous results for it in the future. But only time will tell what is the result of these decisions. Do share your comments in the comments.